Okay, welcome everyone. This is Premier Chess Fall 2021, and this is the adult intermediate class. This is week 10. So 1 week before the end. Can't believe it. It goes by so quickly. We're gonna go look at a game from Shawn White. It's a correspondence game, but before we do that, let's look at a puzzle. This is from Lee Chess. So let's go all the way back to the beginning because I like to do that. All right, so E4, C6. So what do we got? What opening is this?
Caro-Kann.
Caro-Kann, yeah, D5. Bishop D3. So these players are a little bit low rated. This is 1600, but I think we can still derive value. So what's wrong with this move?
Blocks the queen's pawn.
Yeah, you don't want to block a center pawn. Definitely not, right? So what would be a much better move than Bishop D3? What do you guys think? What do you think?
Bishop to E2.
Bishop, well, the pawn is under attack here. So you're going to drop the pawn.
Oh.
So what do you think?
Probably take the pawn or push the pawn.
Yeah, take the pawn or push the pawn. Those are pretty good options. Yeah, but pretty, and then the game continues pretty equal. So Bishop D3 is just an awkward looking move. Why would you want to block a center pawn? Not usually a good idea. So he takes, okay, he unblocks his pawn. Bishop G4, castles, G6. Okay, so now he wants to fianchetto the bishop on the long diagonal. Okay. All right, so they're both fianchettoing. All right, G7, knight C3, knight F6, queen E1, take, okay. Okay, so he wins the pawn there. Okay, very nice. He's going to skewer the queen, win the pawn on C7, but queen comes to B4, counterattacks another unprotected pawn. All right, take, okay. Oh, so now black drops 2 pawns. Okay, interesting. All right. All right, so now he's putting pressure on the E7 pawn, threatening to win the exchange here. Okay. All right. Okay, well, I wouldn't have done that. I would not have done that because this fianchetto bishop is very strong and very nicely controlling the dark squares around the king. So I would not want to part with that willingly. So yeah, all right. Okay, so he doesn't even, okay, so he captures the other one. All right, interesting. Okay, take, okay. All right, wow. So now white is up 3 pawns. So it should be easily winning for white here. So let's see what happens.
Just 2 pawns.
Oh, 2 pawns. You're right. Good. 2 pawns. My mistake. Good point. All right, there you go. Oh, now he drops another one. All right, interesting. Okay. Oh my goodness, what's going on here? Okay, this is a bloodbath here. So now white is an entire rook ahead. All right, big mistakes going on over here. Okay. Big mistake. Everybody see the big mistake with that one?
Yeah, the rook didn't take the bishop.
Why didn't he take it?
Because of back rank mate.
Back rank mate. He forgot about back rank mate. So he just squandered his extra piece, unfortunately. And this is why we don't resign prematurely, right? Because anything can happen. So he squandered his extra piece. So now white is only ahead the exchange now. Okay. So black is now in the game again. Check. He picks up another pawn. All right. So now it's equal pawns. So it's just white is up the exchange. Wow. All right. All right. You don't want to trade when you're down in material. Good. All right. Maybe he pre-moved that one. So he missed that the bishop was attacking the rook. Probably was a pre-move. Could be. All right. Okay, interesting. Now we're in a king and pawn endgame. Very unequal position. We got 2 pawns on the white king side, and then these 2 outliers over here. So these might play a role in doing what? When you have an outside passed pawn like this, what is the value of this?
Yeah, they have a good shot at queening.
Not necessarily. I think the best value of this is basically to distract the black king, to divert him away, and then in the meantime, the white king can come around and hopefully try to gobble up the black pawns over here. So that's kind of usually what happens in these kind of cases. All right, so let's see. All right. Okay. All right. All right, interesting here. Okay, wow. All right, so black is going for outside passers over here, and white might have something down here. All right, so now f5. Okay, so white's trying to overwhelm this little pawn and get a pawn through to promotion. Okay, so here's the position. Here's the puzzle. Black to move. What's the strongest move for black here?
He has to play G3.
Yeah, so G3. Okay, so G3, and then let's say he takes, and then what do? You want to take back or you want to push?
I'd take back.
All right, so take back. Does this king have enough time to get back and catch the pawn?
No, because the pawn will queen by that time.
Yeah, too far away, right? Like we
Right.
were discussing in the last class, the box method, right? So he moves and he's not in the box, not even touching the box. So this pawn on B3 will promote, no problem. Let me just make sure nothing is usually that simple. So all right, so I mean, yeah, so G3, and then I assume white's going to try something here as well, right? So I'm thinking they're both gonna try to get their pawns promoted as well. So, but yeah, all right. So everybody in agreement, right? G3, strongest move. What do you guys think? What does everyone think?
Yeah, he should get his queen one move ahead of white. So.
Okay, let's see. Yeah, all right, nice. Okay, so now, so white, yeah, goes for his own queen here. All right, so now what do you think the strongest move is here?
Black has to take the pawn on D6.
Yeah, so yeah, if he
He has
takes, they're gonna both promote one after the other. So if we take here, then F6, G2. Yeah, again, promoting one after the other. All right, so let's see.
Either way, they both take.
Yeah, they both promote. So
maybe can. Oh,
yeah,
I was going to say the king to C6, but then the white pawn just takes the black pawn on E7.
Yeah, if we actually promote, or sorry, if we push or we take this pawn here, what would be white's best move? Anybody can tell me?
Just D2, wouldn't it? Or D7, excuse me.
I think actually taking the pawn would be best. Why?
Oh yeah.
Why?
Puts it farther away from the black king.
No, because then when the white
and then when
pawn queens, it queens with check.
Time.
Exactly. Yep. That is the key, right? Who's gonna queen with check, and who's gonna be forced to move after that, right? So and white has another pawn here just waiting to be promoted as well. So if you can somehow manage to trade queens, then white
wins it.
White may well win. Yeah. So we can't allow that. So I'm thinking that we have to take this pawn. Ooh, no, they don't like it. All right. So they don't like that one. So all right, what else? So yeah, I wouldn't want to allow that. Let's see, pushing the pawn. Does that do anything?
I don't
No,
see
I don't
why
think
that
so.
doesn't work.
Yeah, I like taking the pawn too, but okay. All right, so maybe let's see. All right, maybe just pushing. All right, let's see. What do you guys think? Just pushing?
I still think that's the second best move.
Oh, wait a minute. Maybe takes here.
Taking, and that way they both have a pawn left over to try to queen a second time.
What about King C6 right now? King C6?
King C6.
No, because then the white pawn just takes the black pawn.
And then
take here.
King
and then
D7.
and then King D7.
King D7 after
okay.
that.
All right, interesting. Okay. Yeah, and then these pawns get stopped in their tracks. Yeah, okay, maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. Because what I was thinking about was taking the pawn here, then white takes here, promote with a queen, promote queen check, queen comes down to block check, forcing a queen trade.
But white still has 2 pawns left.
White has a pawn here, but black's pawn I think is farther up,
Yeah.
farther ahead. So after that,
Hmm.
so check, takes, it's white's move. Push. No, he's gonna catch this. Oh no, but he's got 2. Wow, it's complicated. But yeah, I like Samuel's idea of just going after this one. So let's see. Yeah, very nice, Samuel. Very nice. Yeah, so going after the pawn. And again, I'm sure. Yeah, very nice.
But can't white play F6?
Yeah, so F6 you can do.
But the king can stop both of those
Oh,
pawns.
then,
And now white, yeah, and now black wins.
Yeah.
Wow, very nice. Look at that.
right.
That's good. That's crazy. That just shows you how complicated these king and pawn endgames are. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Right? I think that's the strongest move here. Because you don't really have to do anything over here because the white king is far enough away anyway. So white can't do anything. So all black has to do is stop these pawns, and then he can just comfortably promote and he's winning. Right. So wow, very good. All right, awesome. All right, so let's look at Shawn's game. All right, so this is Shawn's black, and he's playing against Seignior, who's white. All right, so let's see how this went on. Whoa, A3. That's like a hustler, like a hustler type opening. Trying to psych you out. A3. All right. I think didn't actually wasn't there a famous game between Morphy and Anderson where
Yeah, wasn't that called the Anderson opening or something?
Is it? I think it is. I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah, because I went to the link where you played this game and it says the Anderson opening. That's funny. You're right. So A3, D5, D4, knight F6, C4. Okay, C6. Okay. All right. All right. Okay. Huh. All right. So why do you think the computer gave you double question mark? By the way, I don't think this deserves a double question mark at all. All right, maybe. Okay, well, why do you think it gave you double question mark?
Because if the bishop takes the knight, the pawn has to take, and then
Well, it's black's move now. So what can black do here that the computer gave him a double question mark?
Yeah, H3 isn't that big of a deal. I don't know what the
Well, I think just because you're dropping this pawn, white is dropping this pawn, and you
oh,
can
yeah, that makes sense.
you take it with the knight, and your pawn structure is intact, right? So you just
think I wasn't smart enough to
Wait.
do that.
can
Yeah.
black play queen to D6? Does that help?
In this position, no, I think the best move here would be knight. Just get the pawn. So basically a free pawn here.
One.
Yeah, I think so. All right, so yeah, and so what do you think would be a better move than bishop G5? What do you think?
Just pawn takes.
Yeah, just take the pawn, and then he basically so you end up with this isolated queen pawn, which depending on how you play it could end up being a weakness or a strength, right? I forget who said it. I want to say like Tartakower again. He says if a person is too afraid to deal with an isolated queen pawn, then you shouldn't be playing chess, something like that. I remember that quote. I think it's pretty funny. So basically, it can be used as a strength if you play well. By the way, if you're playing against someone who has an isolated queen pawn, what should your strategy be? What do you think? What do you guys think?
See if you can put multiple attackers on it.
Okay, yeah, you want to attack it, but first thing you do before you attack it is anybody know like study my system, Aaron Nimzovich, his philosophy, chess philosophy.
I
Everybody
have
know
the
who,
book, but sadly I haven't studied it.
okay. Yeah, it's a great book. I love it. So basically, there's he talks a lot about the idea of prophylaxis or prophylactic moves, which is basically like preventative type moves, right? So when you're dealing with an isolated pawn like this, the first thing you do is immobilize, right, or blockade. So how do you do that? You control the square in front of it, right? So you make sure either like something like e3, knight f3, or maybe bring the knight to the c3 knight, bring it to b5, then bring it back to d4. So you're blockading this pawn, immobilizing it, and then you proceed to attack it, right, when it cannot move, right? Because what black wants to do, black wants to push this and hopefully get it traded away with the e pawn, right? Perhaps. So the first thing you want to do is immobilize this this isolated queen pawn. All right, so let's go back. All right, so you won the pawn. All right, e3. Yeah, so here I'm trying to think, could you take this pawn as well? I think you can actually. Yeah,
I thought so. I was a little worried about rook to b1, and I guess I shouldn't have been. I had the bishop guarding it. Could have done that.
Well, yeah, even if rook b1, I mean, you can always just bring the knight back again, and now you clean up two pawns. And I mean, he could try to complicate matters, maybe like bishop takes, pawn takes, and what is he going to do? Maybe trade
And I
queens.
think actually that's why I didn't do it, is I was thinking about what would happen to the king when he would double my pawns and then
Right.
swap queens.
Right, that is a possibility, but you do have double isolated pawns and an isolated pawn here, but you are two pawns ahead, which is significant, which is something, and this pawn is about to fall as well. So and if you can get these pawns mobilized, these could be pretty powerful, and that may decide the game just on their own, just like that, right? So I think I would have taken the pawn. Yeah, because you always have this escape route right here on c4. So you didn't want to you didn't want to allow him to trade queens and double your pawns, right?
That was my thinking in the moment. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So you drop back. A knight f3, or maybe also you didn't want to feel like you're being too greedy, right? I always tell
There's
people
always that too. I was always thinking that's going to bite me if I keep grabbing pawns and then get checkmated.
Exactly. Yeah. I like to tell my students that chess punishes greed, so it's good not to be too greedy, especially if you're going pawn hunting in like the opening with your queen. Not a good idea. That's how you get your queen trapped. So be careful of that. All right, so knight f3, bishop d6. All right, good. All right, yeah. So here you're up a pawn and solid position. You should have an easy game here. So let's see. All right. I mean, I would just castle,
but I messed it up.
Okay, I would just castle, get your king to safety, and then you can proceed with something like bishop f4, bishop f5, and bring the rooks into play, something like that. Maybe mobilize these pawns and try to open up lines, that kind of thing. So all right, so here it seems like you want to target this one. Yeah, I would castle first before you start attacking stuff. I would get the king out of the center, just as a precaution. All right, knight c4. All right, knight e5, bishop e2. Okay. Well, I don't know why he did that, because that definitely just drops this one for no reason. Yeah, so yeah, the computer gives queen e2, and now he can just castle either. Well, castling kingside immediately wouldn't be so good. Why? Anybody can tell me why is castling immediately,
Yeah,
right?
because the knight takes the bishop and the pawn can't take back.
Well, if you cancel,
Oh,
if
the
white
queen could.
castles, now,
Bishop takes h3.
good. Yeah, good. Now the pawn is pinned, right? So now bishop takes h3 is possible, and then he's just going to drop another pawn, right? So instead of knight takes, you just go bishop takes, right? And then white is or black is winning, right? And here there's actually a much greater threat. So what's the threat here? What's the threat here? So if well, actually, my question is, if it's hi Brian. So if it was black's to move right now, what would be the best move for black? Welcome, Brian.
I don't know, maybe knight takes bishop, but
Okay, yeah, knight takes bishop. Everybody see why that's the best move? Why? Brian, what do you think?
Then it's check and then you're threatening mate.
Okay, you're threatening mate. Yeah, so knight can't take back, or else it's mate on g2, and so the queen takes back. And now what is
Bishop
black's?
g4.
Bishop
traps the
g4.
queen.
Bishop g4 traps the queen. Right? Everybody see that? Very nice. Shawn's bishops are doing an excellent job of controlling all of these squares, right? All of these diagonals and the pawn and the f5 square as well. So very cool. Very nice position. All right. So yeah, castling kingside right now, not such a good idea. Although bishop b2 not a good idea either, because then you just drop this pawn. So yeah. All right. Queen takes. So now Shawn is up 2 pawns. All right, doing a good job here. Ooh, he drops a 3rd pawn. Whoa, the king just bails. All right. All right. Okay, queen c2, queen h4. Yeah, so now even though white is down white's down 3 pawns, he does have open files, and maybe his rooks can come into play on those open files and create some threats. So let's see. So rook 8 f1, castle. I don't know if I would do that. I don't know about that one. This might be a case where you want to wait a little more. I would be hesitant to castle queen side, king side.
I would think bring the bishop out and then castle queen side.
Yeah, maybe bishop d7. Yeah, and then castle queen side, something like that, I'd say. Yeah, I think you have a little bit more protection here. The rooks are all on the king side, and so yeah, I think castling king. So what was your reasoning behind castling king side, Shawn? Oh, he left. All right. So castle rook f4, queen d8. All right. Okay, king down. Okay, I don't know why that was played. That was unnecessary, kind of a wasted move. Yeah, I'd say here probably yeah, maybe create some kind of threats, along the G file right here. Something like that. Maybe. All right, so king d8, king d1, knight g6, rook f3, bishop takes. Okay. All right, so now black is up 4 pawns. Wow. Decisive. 1 pawn at a time. So yeah, the computer gives you an immense advantage, Shawn. The computer gives you 8 points advantage, right? So you are the equivalent of 8 pawns ahead. So let's say, all right, rook g3, bishop b4. So yeah, so let me ask you guys a question. So let's say you're playing a game like this. What should be your goal in a game like this where you're up 4 pawns?
If you have 4 pawns, you want to trade as many as the back row pieces as you can.
Right. So yeah, you're up in material, trade down.
Simplify.
Simplify, right, exactly. You want to, so and white's goal is to basically complicate things, open up lines, right? So the more pieces you can get off the board, the easier it will be for you to realize your 4 pawn advantage, right? So all right, so bishop g4. Bishop takes, good. Knight e5, good. Takes, all right. All right, ooh, okay. So now hitting the knight and also coming down hard on g7. All right. So knight, oh my goodness. Oh, he missed it. He missed it. Okay, why is that a double question mark? Anybody tell me why is that a double question
Yeah,
mark?
queen takes pawn checkmate.
Oh, shoot. Sean, did you see this after you played knight g6?
After I played it, I thought, okay, that's the end of the game. That's it. No, he missed it.
He missed the maiden one. Look at this. Look
Aw.
at this. Before you played that, you're up ahead 4.5 pawns, and now you play that move, and the computer gives you no advantage and a maiden one. Oh my goodness. This is chess. This is chess. So he misses it. H4. And so you see it, D4. You're like, let me block that queen. He takes queen D5. So you gave back 1 pawn. So now you're only 3 pawns ahead. Okay. All right. Ooh, no. Let me think here. Yeah, what is White's best move? White has a much stronger move than Rook. Actually, no. Okay, so no, right here. In this position, White, what is White threatening in this position? Anybody can tell me? If it's White to move here.
Knight to E7. No, you
Not
can't
yet.
do that now. Yeah, not
Yeah,
yet.
because the
Not
knight
yet.
can take.
Okay, so yeah, so that's the idea, right? So then what should we do first?
Was Rook takes my knight.
Good. Just take the knight, right?
Yeah.
So White takes the knight, and now the pawn cannot take back because we have a royal fork here. Actually, it's a triple fork. Oh, shoot. So yeah, that is a threat. So queen e4, very nice, sidesteps that threat. Knight d6. All right. Knight d6. Why is computer gives you a double question mark? Interesting.
Because I have my next move. I think it's queen to B2.
Oh, right. You got to check here. Okay, you
Yeah.
got to check. All right. All right. So queen b1 check. Okay, king e2. Okay, check. All right. So you figured you're gonna lose a rook. Might as well be a check. All right. Takes king f2. All right. Queen 8. All right. So now you are down the exchange. Okay. So queen a2 check. Okay. King g1 rook knight takes. All right, that's good. I would do another move. What else could you do in this position? What do you think? Brian, what do you think?
Wait, never mind.
Okay.
Just oh wait, no. Knight f4.
No, rook just takes.
Oh wait, no, because then you can't move the rook there.
Yeah. Oh, are you looking at back rank mate?
Yeah, but then the
Mm.
queen just takes.
Yeah. Well, even if the queen wasn't there, the rook could just come back. Right.
Like yeah.
Right. So yeah, I'm looking at so we have a queen on the 7th, right? Why don't you add a rook to that, right? Make it double up on the 7th, right? That'd be nice. But the idea then is what do you think would be White's strongest move here? What do you guys think?
Wouldn't he just bring the queen back to F3?
Yeah, so queen f3, yeah, I think that's a pretty strong response, right? Because now we got basically everything covered, and at the same time we're threatening queen takes f7 and then winning the knight, and the queen can't even take the pawn on b3 to protect, and the only way what is White's best move in this position? Sorry, black. What's Black's best move?
Pawn F6.
No. Why?
No?
You drop the knight. All right, what's better than pawn f6?
Has
Although-
to play rook to e7.
Okay, you can do rook e7. Actually, that loses too. How does that lose? Anybody can tell me?
Queen takes.
Oh yeah, the rook takes the black knight,
Good.
and if the pawn takes, then it's checkmate.
No, not
Well,
checkmate.
not checkmate, but
So what do you do after pawn takes g6?
Queen f8.
Yeah, queen f8, and now you're
Hey.
forking king and rook.
right. So
Right.
you get the rook back.
So basically, you win a piece, right? So very nice. And now white's just ahead of queen rook, and should win this pretty easily. All right, let's go back. So what is the best way to protect against this? What do you guys think? It's a kind of it's a sorry looking move, but it looks like the best hope for black in this position. What do you think?
For black?
Yep, black to move. What do you think? Best move for black. What do you think? No, it's Brian, it's black to move. So I'm saying in this position, black to move. Oh, you're saying take here.
I meant knight h4. Not.
Oh.
Since I just thought of knight, but
Yeah.
I forgot.
No, here. No, that's actually a mate in two. Right?
Oh wait, yeah.
Check, mate.
King's f7 and g7.
Yeah. So what's the best move for black here? Preventing here. It's a sorry looking move, but I think it's the best. What do you think? What do you think?
Is it knight to f4?
No, that just gives away the knight. No.
Because yeah.
What else? Much sorrier looking move than that. Where's the work? Say again?
Never mind. Or I was gonna say knight h8.
Yeah, knight h8. I was gonna say, what is the worst square for the knight? The corners, right? The corners are the worst squares for the knight in this position.
Knight h8.
Knight h8. Very sorry looking move. Very unfortunate looking move. And then maybe white's best move would be something like maybe queen f6. Maybe. And then if you go, g6, it's just sorry. And this knight is completely boxed in. Very unfortunate. But yeah. All right, so let's go back. All right, so let's continue. All right, so queen a2, king g1, knight takes. All right. So look at this, Shawn. You have in this position, you have a 2.4 advantage, right? Even though you're down the exchange, the computer gives you a nice advantage. But after you take this, you lose like 5 points advantage. So now white is up 3 points. Computer gives it 3 points. Interesting. All right. So d5. Okay. So going for the mate here. All right. Let's see here. And it gives a double question mark because here the computer says queen c4 was best, targeting the pinned f pawn. All right, so let's go back. All right, so you move back. Okay, take. Oh, so why didn't you take this pawn, Shawn?
I had no reason. Blunder.
Okay.
I didn't see it.
Okay. This was a correspondence game, right? It's not like you're pre-moving, right?
No, this was on chess.com. It was a 10-minute game.
Oh, it was a 10-minute. Oh, I'm thinking it was a correspondence game. Oh, I see.
No,
Okay.
I'm not quite this bad in normal games.
Okay. All right, that makes sense. All right. So I assume you're getting pretty low on time. So queen a6, c7. Yeah, so now this pawn is very dangerous. Queen b6 check, rook f2, rook c8. Ooh, why would he do that? That's kind of weird. Check. I would take here. Well, actually, you know what? Maybe no, he can still protect the pawn. So how can white protect this pawn again? Actually, no, he can't. Oh, sorry. Yeah, he can't. Because the rook is pinned, right?
Oh,
The rook is pinned. So I'm thinking he goes queen c4 check, and then it brings the rook down, but you can't, right? Rook is pinned. So yeah. So f takes g6, and he can't hold on to the pawn, right? But if you go queen takes, now the rook is no longer pinned. Now he can hold on to his pawn. Oh, okay, we do that. All right. Oh, he still had his mate threat there. I see. So he couldn't take it just yet, even still. All right, so he holds on to his pawn. So, ooh, okay, why that move? Well, okay, I guess you figured you were up all
I
these
figured I
pawns.
was up enough pawns that I
Yeah.
could win it if the queens were off the board.
Right. Okay, that's a good strategy. Good strategy. Takes. Okay. Now walk your king over. Okay. All right. Yeah. Now he's just being annoying now. Oh, shoot. And now you're like, what did I get myself into? Oh my goodness. Oh. All right. So you finally take. All right. Oh man. All right. So now you're up 2 pawns. All right. Should be able to win this. Did you have to do that? All right. It says, all right. I'm wondering, what do you think? What do you think that would be a better move than G5? Because the computer obviously doesn't like that, giving away a pawn.
And
King E7.
Yeah, maybe activate your king. Yeah, that is a good plan.
but then the white rook can go to a6.
Yeah. So this is the kind of skewers that you got to be careful of in these kind of rook endgames, right? You can come all the way back to a6, and now your king is forced to get back on the 8th rank, unfortunately. Yeah. So actually, I'm curious. What does the computer say here? Let's see. All right, computer says go back. Interesting. Yeah, how would you win this? Because if your king is over here and you can't make any progress with these pawns, so maybe g5 is the best bet, right? Interesting. All right, so let's see. G5, okay. Going all out, okay.
Yeah, the rook should have gone to b8.
Let's see. Well, here, I think his idea here was that he's going to protect his pawn, but if he goes, yeah, if white goes rook g2, then he can protect the pawn with rook d4, right? But if he attacks the pawn along the 4th rank, then there's no protection. He can't do it, right? So yeah.
well,
right.
then he can still try to take the A pawn.
Say again.
He can still try take the A pawn then if he goes f4, rook f4 instead of rook g2.
Rook f4. He can still take the A pawn. This one.
I mean B pawn.
Yeah. White's B pawn. Right. Yeah. So all right, this is coming down to the line. All right. So let's see. So he goes. All right. So yeah, he makes. I think that's a mistake. So let's see. Is what the computer say? All right. The computer says protect this pawn. Interesting. All right. Let's see. All right. Let's continue. Protect. Okay. No. Here, I would push here. So white's giving you an opportunity to push your pawn, right? So every opportunity you have, push your pawn forward another square, right? So let me see what the computer says. Yeah, there you go. So push the pawn. Yeah, given the opportunity, always push your pawn, right? Every square is 1 square closer to promotion. All right. And your king can just gobble up this pawn then, and then push this. So let's see, push, and let's say he goes. Let's say he blocks, and you go from behind, and now this is just an easy win, I think. Yeah, this king is too far away, and he can't really do anything. You just trade rooks. If he trades, and this pawn's free to go, and you win. Very easy. All right. So yeah. All right. So you went there. King G6. Okay, so you did push the pawn. Good. King F5. Oh, but that's the problem. Now you can't support the pawn from behind, so it's not as strong, right? So the goal is definitely to bring the rook behind the pawn. That's a great place. Sometimes if you have to, you bring the rook in front of the pawn, if you have to, but behind the pawn is even much more powerful, much stronger. All right, so King F5. So now he prevents you from protecting your pawn, which is a very good maneuver. All right, King F4, rook takes. All right. All right, now. Okay. Yeah, so now let's see what happens here. How are we gonna do this? Ooh, yeah, you just got there. Oh my goodness, that was close. After 4 pawns advantage, and it came down to 1 square away. Yeah. So if he got there just in time, he could either stalemate himself, or he could stalemate you, right? If you tried to blockade yourself in here, then you would get stalemated and it'll be a draw. So you got there just in time. Woo. I'm sure you planned out that entire scenario, right, Shawn?
Yeah, I did actually.
You took your time and planned it out. Very nice. Very
Well,
nice.
at least with the count, I didn't plan to be down onto only 1 pawn.
Yeah.
But once we got down to the 1 pawn, I counted the squares very carefully.
Right. Yeah, no, this is great lesson. Rook and pawn endgames, very, very useful. Very useful to know. So all right, so we got like 15 minutes left. You know what? I have a study of rook and pawn endgames we can look at if you guys are interested. What do you guys think? We'll go over that for the next few minutes of the class.
Sure. And thank you for that analysis.
Yeah, hopefully it was helpful. All right, so let's look at let's say, hold on, let's see, we got rook and pawn. Let's see here. All right, rook versus 2 connected passed pawns. All right, so everybody knows this idea with rook versus 2 connected passed pawns. So if it's black to move here, so here it's white to move, right? If it's black to move, black wins, right? But here, if it's white to move, I believe white wins this one. All right, let's see. So white, yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah, white wins if it's white to move. But so the rule is a rook against 2 connected passed pawns that are on the 3rd rank, or the 6th rank if it's white's pawns. A rook is no match, right? A rook will lose against 2 connected passed pawns on the 3rd or the 6th rank. All right, that's the general rule. All right, so let's see. All right, let's go back to this one. All right, so let's see. So here's a tactic, endgame tactic, white to move. What is the strongest move here?
Rook takes h5.
Did I go over this with you, Samuel?
No.
Okay, good. Rook takes h5. Yeah. Oh, you saw that quick, Samuel. So what's the idea?
I guess you just go g4.
Yeah. So you sacrifice your rook temporarily, and then you get this fork, and then you win with the outside passed pawn, right? So basically the idea is to simplify, right? Simplify as much as possible, because here white has the outside passer, and if we can just get rooks off the board, then the win will be easy. All right, so let's go on to the next one. All right, so here, what do you guys think? What's the winning strategy for white? So the pawns are going up this way.
No, not.
What do you guys think?
It's whites to move or black to move?
White to move. White to move.
I
This is
think
this is a
white
win.
has
for
to
white.
move the rook back down so it gets behind the pawns. Rook behind past pawns.
No, we want to push this king back. So we have the rook over here.
Just
We
the
can
rook
push
to
the king
put
back.
the king in check.
So yeah, so we check the king, right? And now the king can go up or down. So actually, down is actually the worst move. Why is that the worst move? Anybody can tell me?
Yeah, G4
G4.
check.
Yeah, G4 check forces rook takes, and then what do we do?
And then your rook comes down and checks him again to drive him away, and you pick up the rook.
Very good, very good. Yeah, so forces that, and all right. So let's just play it. Oh, sorry. There you go first. Okay, check. And you pick up the rook. All right, so let's just look at this a little bit more. So if he went up, then what would be the strategy now?
Push the H pawn.
Yeah, so remember, you get the opportunity to push your pawn one square, just take it, right? You ever anybody here follow Yasser Sirwan a little bit, or the chess bras, Eric Hansen and Amon Hamilton? No, they're like Canadian grandmasters. So they always talk about in their videos about pass pawns. They say push him, baby, push him. So push the pawns. So h5, and then let's say he tries attack the pawn. You go g4, so you basically slowly inch your way up, right? There's nothing he can really do. And then you do the same thing again, repeat the same thing, check. And again, if he comes to h6, he's going to lose his rook by force. Comes back, push him again, right? Nothing really he can do, right? Nothing he can do. And now, all right. So now what do we do next here? White to move. What do you guys think? Oh, sorry. All right, sorry. Let's see. Okay, now it's white to move. All right. So what should we do now? Brian, what do you think?
Same as always, check the king, right?
Excellent. Yeah, check the king again. Check, and now he can't move up, right? He can only move h7, and then we force the win of the rook, right? Very nice. Cool. Very good. All right, let's go on to the next one. All right, so it's white to move. So white's coming up this way, black's going down this way. So what do you think? White to move.
Rook to G8.
Rook to G8. Yeah, why would you do that?
Because when he takes your rook, you take his, and your pawn's closer to being queened than his is.
Yeah, and not only that, but we're going to promote with check, right? So even better, even better. Yeah. So even if he doesn't do that, all right, then you promote with check. So even if he tried to run with his pawn, it wouldn't have worked really. There. So he's one square away, even though he's going to promote with check, but we're one square quicker, and we got mate, and then we pick up this pawn very easily. All right, very nice. Okay, so good. Let's see this one. All right, so this is white to play. What do you think? How would you win this position?
For who?
What white to play? White to play and win. What do you think?
Just a A6.
A6, very good. Okay, so A6, push the passers. Now what? I mean, there's actually a few ways you can win
Rook
this one.
A5. Rook A5.
Yeah, you can just put your rook behind the pawn, right? and then it's just going to support it all the way to the end, and that will win. And there's really no way that he can block it. But there's another way that they want to demonstrate in this position, which is A6.
Yeah.
And now what do we do?
Rook B7.
Nope, stronger than Rook B7.
Oh,
Say again?
Rook B6.
Oh, Rook B6.
Yeah, Rook B6, right? Forking King and Rook and deflecting the Rook away from the A file and allowing White to promote, right? Very nice. Very nice. Deflection check. Cool. All right. So next, let's see this one. All right, so White to move. What is the strongest move for White here?
A5.
Good. We have
I say A5 also, yeah.
yeah, we have a majority on the queen side, 2-1 over here. So we need to mobilize that. Very important. A5. Okay, takes. Now what do you do?
A6. I mean
B6.
B6.
B5, B6.
B6.
Okay, so B6. If you go B6, now he has A takes B6, and then what would you do?
A6.
Oh, wait.
A6.
A6,
And
I
now,
wouldn't take
and now,
it.
and
'cause
now King C6, and now he's going to catch it, right? You can't go A7 because now he has King B7. He catches your pawn.
Can you go A6 then B6?
Yeah, A6 is much more precise, right? Much better, much stronger. A6. First, we immobilize this, bring the pawn one square closer, and also not allow the king to access C6 just yet, right? And yeah. So now what do we do?
B6.
Now we go B6. All right. Now what do we do?
Then take the pawn. So B takes A7.
Good. Yeah. If you push, you can just go back to C7 blockade, and then these pawns should win. Or it just goes shuffles back and forth. But if you take on A7, then both of these pawns are controlling the squares, the vital squares, and so the king cannot stop both of them, or cannot stop the A7 pawn. Right. Very good. All right. Awesome. And promote. Good. All right. Cool. All right. What about this one? White to move. What do you think?
D6.
Good. Yeah. First thing you want to do is connect these two pawns, right? Don't let black capture the C7 pawn. So connect the pawns first. Okay. So now what does white do?
Rook D8.
Good. Rook D8, right? So now black protects the rook. Now, what do you do now?
D7.
Excellent. Yeah. So now the pawns are completely overwhelming black, and D7 wins very beautifully. And there's not much he can do, right? And now what do we do here?
Rook B8.
Rook B8.
Rook B8. Yeah, beautiful, right? So now we have how do you call that? Like evacuation of the promotion square with a check, right? So we have a kind of like a decoy sacrifice, and then forcing the promotion on the next move. Good, very nice. All right, everybody knows how to do this. This is pretty basic. Everybody's familiar with this position?
I always see this one, but I always forget.
It's always G6. It's always the middle one first.
Good.
Right?
Yeah, always the middle one. Yeah. Always the middle one. Doesn't matter which one he takes. Now what do you do?
Now you push the F pawn.
Yeah. Yeah. So the F pawn is the one that's the focus of this. So one of these will promote, right? The F pawn or the H pawn. And with F6, yeah, either he takes here and you promote with that with the F pawn, or in this case, he took the F6 pawn and then you promote this way. Yeah. So it's forcing a breakthrough. Right. All right. All right. Awesome. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Hope you guys learned something. Any questions, by the way? What do you guys think? Illuminating?
Fine.
Do you guys practice your end games? Like, how often do you practice your end games?
So.
Occasionally?
Yeah, occasionally. Usually after I lose a game in the end game, then I go home and study it.
Like,
I sometimes do.
you sometimes do? Like,
Yeah.
you mean you analyze your own end games, or you just analyze end games?
Analyze end games.
Excellent. And what do you use? Do you use Lichess studies or the engine?
Books and engines.
Excellent. Books. Yeah, I got a lot. It's amazing how many books are devoted to openings, but I think end games are so much more important than openings, honestly. Because it's just amazing. Like, you play an excellent game, in the opening and the middle game, but then once you get to the end game, you just like easily you get outplayed, and you're like, what? This is simple. This is an end game. I should have I should have won. So don't want to squander a good position. So I want to make sure you understand end games. Very important. All right. Great seeing you guys. So yeah, next week is the final week. I don't know if I'll see you next week, but yeah, hope you guys have a wonderful night.
Bye.
All right. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.